Welcome to the iNetrepreneur Radio Show. We are so honored to bring you your host, the ultimate celebritypreneur, connecting businesses and celebrities worldwide. Winner of the Networking Organization of the Year, best-selling author, magazine publisher, trainer, and owner and founder of Network Together and the iNetrepreneur Media Network from magazines, TV, and radio network. We're excited to bring you your host, Mr. Robert W. Jones.
Welcome, everyone, to another Thursday for the iNetrepreneur Network radio show. My name is Robert Jones, and I am your host. Don't forget the W, Robert W. Jones. That's how I can differentiate myself between all the other Robert Joneses in the world. I am here in location in the wonderful, beautiful city of Las Vegas, Nevada. And just a little bit of time, I'm here at the Military Influencers Conference, and I served in the United States Marines from 1983 to 1989, and I just have such a rush of emotions here, just being around just powerful veterans who've served a limited amount of time, or those veterans who've served for 20, 25 years and more. It's like coming back to family for me. And it's something that I kind of put back on, in my life. I felt like I'm a Marine. I got out and I felt like I could do everything myself. I was just one of those guys, and I have done quite a bit for myself over the years. But, when you get around your family, the memories start flooding back, and, all of a sudden, every smell and everything that I see and all those relationships, et cetera, they flood into me, now, and they flooded me from what I was a part of, so many years ago. But, and it really makes it a very, very special show for me today, because I have a sister in service that is going to be on the show here today. And I'm really looking forward to bringing her on, and, maybe we can share some of our experiences. And at the end of the day, it goes back to everything that we talk about in the iNetrepreneur Network community. I mean, everything is about relationships. And what I see here, from people wanting mentorship, learning how to storytell, learning how to collaborate, being the best version of themselves, it's the same as that we have in the entrepreneur world. But people also want to be valued. They want to, develop confidence. They want their voices to be heard. And at the end of the day, have a community that hears them and supports them and gives them inspiration. And that's what is so incredible about today. But before we go on any more of that, I want to make sure that everyone knows that we will be having the forthcoming #1 international best-selling book, The Art of Connection, 365 Days of Transformational Quotes. Our first two books have been #1 international best-selling in 43 different categories. And so certainly, we are looking forward to having the third book in this series come out and just overwhelm the first two books. And we're also going to be coming out with a fourth book in the series, but I'm not going to reveal the name yet. I think we'll have to have a breakout party for that. I also want everyone to know that we have the Unchain Yourself Women's Professional Conference coming up. I believe I have it here at November 17th. That's the last information I know hot off the press, from 9 to 5. It is Zoom. We alternate our Women's Unchained events every quarter, from in-person to virtual, in-person to virtual, to make sure that everyone who has the willingness and desire to come, to come be with us and, have a good time. Yes, men, you are welcome. So women love the men who support. So don't feel like you can't show up. Also, go to ntevents.net. That's ntevents.net for networking meetings, academy classes, pop-up events, summits like the Art of Connection. And we also have the industry's first iNet Connect panel interviews. It's kind of like a speed panel networking craziness. And, we have a whole lot of fun. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to our magazines, both the Contemporary Woman and iNetrepreneur and iMagazine. And guess what? That is enough housekeeping for the iNetrepreneur Network. I'm so excited to bring on my guest. Hello, Char.
Hello, Robert. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I mean, I am so glad that you're here with me today. And like I said, you got pink, I got to get some blue, and we'll just go so PC that it's going to be un-PC when we do this stuff. You just wait. This is going to be the greatest stuff ever. Yes, I am here with Char the McCreadie. I mean, how do you like that? Char the McCreadie. It doesn't get any better than that. She is founder and creative behind Fly Far with Char and Warrior Woman Worldwide, which, I see this movement coming. And, there's going to be warrior men eventually, too. I can see this whole thing open up. She's a veteran, a survivor, a speaker, published author, a kick-ass motivator in any crowd. So if you're looking for someone to get butts out of seats, that is Char. I've seen her. I've been there. She is that energy, and she makes you scream. So I just want to say it. I'm just putting it out there, Char. So, welcome to being on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. You're cracking me up.
Well, you know what? Like I said, after this last year, it's great to have Humpty Dumpty get back together again. And, with me, I think, my years of service and being an athlete and everything, they say there's only so much tread on the tires, right?
That's right.
And after a while, unfortunately, with the human body, you can't actually just trade in your parts necessarily yet. So you have to kind of, reformulate them somehow. And that's what I've been doing. Again, Char, I really want, people to get to know you, even before what they see now. Where were you born, and, what was family life like, growing up, and what were some of the interests you had back in the day before you became this big rock star that you are now?
Rock star. I don't know about that, but I do like rock music. Good old classic rock for sure.
Yes.
Absolutely. Especially on a deployment. Anyhow, that's another conversation.
Yep.
Well, I was born in Denver, Colorado. Definitely looked nothing like I do today. Had no idea that the journey would end up here with, pink hair and what I look like today. At age 6, I was called. I felt this divine calling one day at school. I remember distinctly coming home and sharing with my family that, hand on my hip, and that I was going to go to that school down the road, and I was going to fly airplanes or practice medicine. That school meaning the United States Air Force Academy. And of course, this was in the 70s before women were ever allowed to go there. I didn't know that then. I just felt called. And so that began kind of my journey with school. I loved school, but I was OCD about everything. It had to be a certain way. I could only get straight A's. I was involved in every activity for sure. I love people. I still love people today. I just wanted to create and to be with people, believing that together we could do something. And every decision that I made, and the older I got through school, I really made calculated decisions, sometimes to my detriment, meaning that I would choose maybe this event and this activity over going to be a normal teenager with my friends, because the resume about getting into the military was uber important to me. It was really my only focus on my radar. But I was also the kid that played football with the guys, and whether that was in the middle of the street or on the field at school, and was the self-appointed policeman on the playground at school because I got tired of watching my fellow ladies get bullied by the guys. So I decided to do something about it. And, was known for maybe stealing, back in the day when they had their combs in their back pockets or in the back of their head.
Oh,
and, I would go grab those and promptly run over to the teachers. So even the administration kind of knew my policing policies, if you will.
Well, and it's really interesting, Char, because I see it now, and and I'm already hearing it. Then there was a lot of development in you that somehow came to be, at an early age. You really embrace a feminine, you really embrace the masculine, you really embrace inclusion, and you really have that place of like a determination. Even at a young age, and, defining your goals and staying on track, for those goals, and I can't say that there's a lot of nurture in your life when you're at 6 years old and you're already expressing, who you are and what you're going to become. It just were you just born with this? Is that how you say it? Or could it there have been something that just sparked you so young that, you just knew that when you looked up in the sky, you were going to be up there?
Well, I think there was probably two things. I did feel this divine calling, this tug on my heart. And I was always fascinated with the sky and with airplanes. And my dad used to take me to every air show there possibly was to go. And at the time, where I lived in North Denver, I could sit on our front lawn and look kind of in between the houses and see the airspace above a small airfield, which at the time, anytime the Air Force Thunderbirds and the Navy Blue Angels would practice at when they were in the West Coast area. And so that just kind of, fueled my love for it.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't really think there was anything else but those two things together. And then, of course, Vietnam was going on in that time. And as that came to a close, I had family members who served there, and I saw how they came home, different people, and the effects over time in my childhood, and realized in high school when I was taking a college American history class and we had to write our thesis. And one of the approved topics, was something around Vietnam on that list. And I chose that. There was no question, because in class and in our textbook, there was literally a half a page only talking about it. And to me, that was a red flag. There's something there.
Right.
There's something there, And so I did that and was able to learn more about a family member who chose for the first time since he had been back home to actually share openly what his experience was. It allowed me to interview and to write that story, which was really overwhelming to me at that time.
And that's one thing that we're talking about, here at the convention. We're just talking so much about stories and how they affect and how you remember them, and how, it's the stories that, facts tell, stories sell, but it really is much even deeper than that. Stories really are our ways to help, lead a generation into another generation if we're allowed to keep them and tell them and not sell them. And, and I'm seeing that today, and I think that you do an amazing job of being able to take what I call your pivot points or your transitions, the transformations that you've done in life, because you've had to, you had to strategize about the setbacks and then, plan to keep moving forward, because there's been some things that have been hurdling in your way. But, so 6 years old, you're getting into high school, but, one of the things that you were always like, you were kind of like, the Troy of High School Musical, but, so you were doing great in athletics and academics, weren't you?
I was doing it all. I was in band, I was in choir, I was in pep club, I was in student council. If there was something to be a part of, Char was part of it. I don't know how I managed it. I'm sure I drove my mom crazy trying to get me to everything. But I definitely, I just believed in my school. That was my other community. And I knew that if we could rally everybody, life is better when we're together as a team and working all at the same time.
I mean, life is better when we're together. And again, it's like, you're serving, a space, but, it's not only better together, but see, here's the other key values that you have in you. You also know it didn't mean a segment of the community was better together. I mean, for those who may not be the cool kids in the club in that community, you also advocated for them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The underdog has always been my jam. And I think in elementary school, as I'm listening to you, I'm replaying a couple of scenarios. And one of that was just watching, some of maybe the quirky kids or the only nerdy kids that really just didn't feel like they fit in for whatever reason. And I knew that they were always the ones that got picked on at recess. And so that was always my lens. I was like, looking for them and would just go champion, because whether we were super close friends or any of that mattered not to me. It's just that they had the ability to show up at school and to learn and to grow and to be part of something and not be picked on. That just drove me nuts, like crazy
Yeah,
nuts.
and helping them develop more courage and helping them to, define and command their own confidence. I mean, these things, are amazing. You get out of high school, and then all of a sudden, it was military, right? It was like going straight into the military. Tell us about your early journey in the military, and then I'll ask you some specific questions in here in a little bit, because I know you have some stories to tell, but I just want to get a little bit of those early years in your military before we get to the later years.
Sure, sure. Well, I did high school in 2 years and part of a semester because I was done. I
Yeah,
was ready to just go in. So
right.
I figured out a way to get out of high school as fast as possible. And I wasn't even of legal age yet so my parents had to sign me into the military because I couldn't sign for myself yet. And I did. I went straight in, went to basic training. I think it was 23 days after I graduated high school. I was off to basic training, and I've been, on the road of life ever since that time. And that would have been the 8th class of women that included women at the United States Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. So to say it was an adventure of its own is an understatement for sure. So that's how it all started. Did I lose you, Robert? Well, hello, everyone. I guess we're going to be right here for a few moments until our host comes back. Maybe I'll tell you a little story while we're waiting here. So I was at the United States Air Force Academy, part of the 8th class of women that went to go there. And here we go. Our host
Yeah.
is back.
Yeah,
Fabulous.
I don't know if there were, you were so strong in your energy. See what happened? You streamed it all the way here to Vegas, Char.
You didn't invite me to go with you.
No, next time we'll have to be next to each other, okay?
There we go. We do a little side by side, old school style.
Absolutely. Go ahead. I'm interested in this story.
Yep. So it was at the academy, and I was so strong in that was my calling and my goal that I did everything I possibly could so that no person or no regulation or system or process could tell me no. And one great piece of advice that I got from my father, even though we didn't agree on very much of anything, is he said, remember, they're just trying to see who really wants to be there. If you play the game and show them you're there to win, you'll be fine. And that would play in my head on those really, really hard days because, trust me, right in the beginning of basic training, I had a flag officer. So that's a general officer for our civilian audience out there. Get right in my face. We call it getting in the grill.
Yeah.
And very loudly in front of thousands of my class reminded me that people like him didn't want women there. And he said, you don't belong here. And I said, oh, yes, sir, I do.
And there's a certain resilience, there's a certain strength, there's a certain, that feeling of overcoming. I mean, of course I didn't have that, but, being in the Marines, I mean, there was many times I thought to myself, why, it sure looked a lot better in the brochures than it does in boot camp,
Real talk.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, you're gonna be on a beach, all right, buddy. I just, and it's like one of those things I tell people that they ask me, and it's the same, being at the Air Force Academy. Only those know, and I only a Marine knows like what a Marine's been through, and only what you've been through. But what I love about it is what you and I do is, we collaborate with others, and we tell our stories to inspire others through what we have been through, because maybe it wasn't a boot camp for them. Maybe it was an abusive spouse. Maybe it was a corporate, right sizing, right? Is that
Yep.
right sizing, not
Yeah.
downsizing? Maybe it was, a government situation. We don't know. But at the end of the day, fear is fear, pain is pain. And, resiliency is hopefully the ability to overcome it. And that's what I believe that you share, with individuals, but one of the things that I noticed, Char, that I was like looking through, so I wanted to be like a little bit of investigator. So I started going through your profile, and I was kind of seeing, she did this. And it's like, okay, she has this on her LinkedIn. I'm like, okay, we got to talk. We got to get this LinkedIn profile a little buffed up there. But then I'm like scrolling down there, and to my surprise, I was like, yeah, I know that you played rugby, and I know that you were a championship, power lifter and everything. And I saw Tim Tebow on your page, and I was thinking to myself, Tim Tebow. I was like, where did that come from? I was thinking like General Patton or something. I don't know, but here I am seeing Tim Tebow. Tell me a little bit about the why of Tim Tebow.
Oh, that's too funny. Yes, you're correct. My LinkedIn does need some work. I'm aware of that for sure. You can find me on Facebook. I'm really great on Facebook right now. Well, so Tim Tebow, there's a lot of things that resonate with me, for sure, with that. The athlete part, for sure, that core physical strength, but the strength of our spirit. And I've always felt like he's kind of been an underdog in different areas of his life. And especially when he was in college and I was younger in my military career, as a woman, I felt that way too. And I'm like, you know what? His spirit and mine are like brother, sister spirits. And then I've just watched him and watched how his faith has helped him and kept him grounded throughout his entire life. And as the twists and turns of his life, because we all have them, right? We all have those U-turns and roundabouts and those, side swipers that we never expected.
Absolutely.
And that's been, his foundation, as has it become mine due to some significant events that have occurred in my life as well. And so there's just a lot that I respect there and appreciate. So, I like to observe those that resonate with me.
And we don't really say this all the time, especially in the entrepreneur community. And he, he's a godly man,
Yep.
And he serves Christ, and he serves God. And I appreciate that. In my world, mine was Kurt Warner. I just thought, he was another amazing individual,
Yes.
Came from the Iowa Barnstormers, and all of a sudden, became a Super Bowl MVP and everything. And, I had the ability, I was working with a company, and, what's really crazy is I worked on Kurt Warner's foundations and websites one time in my life. And, not everyone, and sure, you and I both know this, we really are in the personal development, the speaking and brand fields. And not everyone is what they appear to be when you actually meet them in person.
That's so true.
That is so true. Amen to that, right?
Yep.
And Kurt Warner is who he says he is, and is who they show him as, and I think that he's an amazing thing. But another story I want you to talk about is, and this is another time, and I call it, there's so many pivot points, but this wasn't just a pivot point for me. It wasn't a pivot point for you. This was a pivot point that I think that really rang a bell around the world. And, there was that dreaded date, 9/11. And it's like, I said, they changed what a 911 call for me looked like forever on that day. And, you are a Pentagon survivor. And, one of the questions I just wanted to ask you personally is, what did that feel like in the moment? And then what have you learned about it now that we're 20 years out?
Robert, that is a very loaded question, and I will give it my best response.
Okay. Yes.
There's a lot that I would love to say at some point. This may not be that time.
Sure. Yeah.
For sure. In the moment, it was just chaos, crazy, the mumbo jumbo. If you could ever feel like nothing was right in your head and trying to make sense of something, it was that day for sure. And where do I go next? And that whole time, much of it is now a blur for me. I can just say that the morning was absolutely crazy. And as soon as I was released, as we, every unit had accountability and we set up all the things, the perimeters and all the things that had to happen. I was in the medical field, so we had certain responsibilities. I was dismissed so I could go on a different shift. And the just extreme shock, numbness, uncertainty, fear, trying to get out of that area. And I just wanted to make a phone call. I wanted to see if my husband was alive, because I knew what was on his schedule that day, but didn't know exactly when. And because of the, where the building was blown up and the plane, hit all of those things, it was just a lot. And it took me, I had to get out of town quite some time because cell phones weren't working. And I finally found a small business. Speaking of entrepreneurship connections, it was a small mom and pop awards and trophy shop that was on this back road that I was using to get to my neighborhood where I was ordered to go. And I just went in, and I was obviously still in my uniform. And I said, please, I need to use your phone. I will pay you for the phone call if I have to. And we eventually got a call out, and I got one call out, and that was to my family. And I just said, listen, I'm alive. I don't know about anything else right now. Don't try to call. We'll call you when we can, when we have a phone signal, and go from there. I don't know when I'll talk to you. Please tell everybody I love them.
Oh my goodness. Just listening to your words, it's bringing back those moments in my mind. And, I know I was out in 89 and that was 2001, but I still remember, Char. I remember everything about that day. And then I remember turning on the television, and I remember in my mind, I was trained to protect this country. I was trained to protect the Constitution. I was trained, to be that person that would, put down their, life on the line. I was shot at once. I know what it feels like. It's not a great feeling, but you do it. It's your job. It's I never said that I was a hero. I've never heard you say that you're a hero. It's like we do our job because we have a passion for something greater and bigger than ourselves. And I still remember when in that time frame, the word that kept coming, how did this happen? And then, and then after that was the who, because I felt like this had to be just amazingly orchestrated, because I know that we have the best people with the best equipment and the best training in the world. And it was really, tough for me in that time, and I'll tell you, the one biggest thing that I learned from that is, there is just nothing in life that is 100%.
Correct.
And that I have to say, and that's why I was wondering what you felt about it, because that's the one thing I've always learned. It's I don't want to fail, but it's okay to fail, in my life. And, because I know that there's still things that go on out there that are so much stronger than I, and it took a long time for me to have that courage to say something like this, and that's why we're here. We're here to, have those conversations and tell our stories with other people, because they can live a better greatness. And that's what I love about you. And that's what I believe that you and I do.
Thank you, Robert.
Again, I am here with, let me see, my little thing went down here for a little bit, but let me put this across here. I blew past, or I'm going to do it in 2 segments. Usually I do 3, but I just, I don't want to stop the mojo here, or the mogo, or whatever they call it anymore. I'm Fly with Char, Warrior Women. She's a veteran. She's a survivor, cancer survivor, that is. And I'm putting it in there that time. She's a speaker, a published author, international best-selling author, might I say, with one of our book series through the iNetrepreneur Network. You can reach her at flyfarwithchar.com, right?
Yes.
That, I gotta get that. It's like Susie sells seashells at the seashore, and we got Fly Far with Char, blah blah blah. So we got that going.
I'll say that 10 times fast,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. So you can contact her at 703-408-6789 again, or you can email her at char@flyfarwithchar.com. farwithchar.com. Char, I'm going to go ahead and play a little commercial break. Then I'm going to bring you back on. And I'm going to go into some, different areas of your life that, people may or may not know about, what you, believe and how you operate with this thing called existence. Sound cool?
Sounds great.
Again, I'm loving it. So appreciate you being on the show. All right, she's back. Char McCreadie, founder and creative behind Fly Far with Char and Warrior Women Worldwide. And so we're going to bring that up here in a little bit. She's a survivor. She's a veteran. She's a speaker. She's an author. I tell you what, she is a kick-ass, motivator, inspirer, and get off your butts and your seats audience person. I'm with Char McCreadie here today, and I'm so inspired by her. Just having her here is just amazing. Char, you and I, we've talked about many things. We've talked about athletics. We've talked about academics. We've talked about, you being a graduate of the Air Force Academy, and many of the, in even some of the things that, kind of disturbed us, and what we saw in our lives, very personal. And I can feel my emotions. And when I talk with you, it's like you're kind of there and you bring out emotions in me. And, it may be because it's like, I feel safe, and even people like you and me, it's okay to have some vulnerability, because in a way, it allows us to be real, it allows us to be in our own authenticness, if I can say that, but there's another part of Char, and it's one that I want to bring out there. And so, you can call it God, or you can call it spirit, or you can call it soul, or you can call it universe. One of the things that really endears me, to you is you have this concept of heavenly realms, and I just want to have a little bit more understanding for myself and our audience to, kind of, see through your eyes. What does it mean? What does heavenly realms mean? When you put this out on the table for someone to understand.
Uh-huh. Well, I had the blessing, and yes, a blessing outside of my children. Honestly, it's the biggest blessing of my entire life. I got to have 2 heavenly trips. One of them just 2 years ago this month, and the first one in 2007, as I was finishing up my military career. I also was dealing with a very, very long cancer journey, and it was not a really good day that day. Just a not so very good kind of day. I'm sure we've all had those in our life, right?
It just shows up, right?
Yeah. It's like, oh man, what's going on? And in that moment for me, it was, my children and their father had finally left, and I was just kind of overstimulated, done with human contact. And my roommate in the hospital, I had been in the hospital a very long time at this point, and I had had a roommate the whole time, and they had moved her. And finally I had time for myself. And the next thing I recall is I woke up in heaven, literally meeting Jesus, my creator, Lord and Savior, face to face. And in true military Char fashion, I tried to negotiate to stay, folks.
Yeah.
Because it was truly unlike anything. Like, wow.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to be a permanent resident there. And obviously, since I'm with you here today, God had other plans. And that changed my whole life from that point forward.
And I call them contracts. We have contracts, and, and sometimes they're not over. And I think that you went into this heavenly realm, I really think to become that person who is a beacon, to express such greater things, and in the last segment, I talked about how, really what I'm saying is there's so many things in life and there's no absolute 100%. But the reason why I saved it for this, particular section is there actually is 100%, and you were able to go there and come back and say, what, how we are in this life suit and how we are in the vibration of the moments that we're here on this earth. You've seen a place, and there's probably a lot of comfort in that, isn't there, Char?
Oh, it's more than comfort, Robert. It's this joy. I call it joy. I don't really know that we have the correct word in any language, earthside, right, for it. It's just so inviting and comfort, love. There's none of that undertow of anything that we deal with here on the earth. There's none of that there. And everything feels beyond possible and amazing and just so. And
Yeah.
that is why I wanted to stay and also understand up to that point. This was 2007, the first time, but I had been battling this thing called cancer since 1994. It was a long time, folks, a really long time, and it wasn't done yet. And so this experience, I wanted to stay because I was whole.
Yeah.
I was healthy. And I had real hope. Whew, for the first time in that moment, that I wouldn't live the rest of my life, my existence with that label. That there was something, because that short visit that felt like eternity and short all at the same time ended with these words. I've got this, says the Lord. Now you go tell everyone who will listen. And I woke back up in the body that's standing before you here today, trying to figure out what on earth had happened. I was looking at all the machines, the IV poles, and trying to talk to a nurse who I could clearly see on her face. She thought I was crazy.
One thing that I can express with you here, and this is an uplifting entrepreneurial show, but man, this is deep and this is good and this is great. And I know that place because I've had cancer in my life as well. And I remember in that time, Char, I just hated like my life, and I just wondered, why me? I lost my marriage. I almost lost my son. I lost my house. I lost my business. This is like everything. I came from California, living in San Diego in 2009 through 2007. Guess what? All the real estate that I bought went evaporated. And then I got cancer on top of it. See what is so amazing about you. And this is what every entrepreneur and every person who served in the military, and quite frankly, any person who's ever lived. The reason why I have such respect for you is because it wasn't a one-trick pony. It was a life full of this cancer, this wreckage, which could just really destroy a person, especially when it's over that much time. Because how do you transform and pivot out of it when it's there?
Yeah.
And the only thing that I can think of, because I thought about this when I was having you on the show today, I thought about this. I said, your 100% is to tell that story so others can learn, from you, so they can follow those clues and know that mine may not be as bad. it may not last as long. And if Char can travel this journey, and if she can have that hope and that inspiration, that support, and she can gift that to me, I can do this too. You know, and that's what really this part, of our show today is what I've really felt and thought about you. And that's what is incredible, because to me, knowing you and being with you is, we have such a wonderful journey of work, and I'm so excited about, doing this with you, because you and I both know, people have problems feeling valued. They have, their confidence sometimes gets undermined. Their relationships have to be, tweaked and redeveloped. And what you have in, with Fly Far for Char is you give, mostly women, but probably a few good men too, entrepreneurs tools to get to their space of success, don't you?
I work with everyone.
Yeah.
I'm passionate about women just because I am one and of my journey.
Are you?
Yeah, right? Imagine that. But, I want to work with everyone. And we certainly, on the entrepreneur side, man, come on, veterans, come on, right?
Yeah.
We have a safe place for you here, and some incredible opportunities, and just a new toolbox to develop. And it's fun, it's different, it's challenging, and incredibly rewarding. And because of my health journey and all that is consumed in my life, I really am passionate about helping people first get well from the inside out, because I believe that real wealth comes in our health first, and then we can work on the wealth in the bank account. Because if we're feeling like crud and down and out, nothing else matters, because we really don't have any energy or focus to focus on anything else in that time, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to smile authentically when you feel like crap,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And it's, hey, if I'm hiring my accountant and they're feeling like crap all week long, you know what? Are they doing the job that I'm paying them for? Right? And and when it comes to health, and on your health journey, I mean, do people really understand, Char? I mean, do they really understand how important it is? Because I hear it, and we put it out there so much, and sometimes it's like I feel like I want to shake them up, and I say, no, I mean it. Your health really matters. I can see it, but I don't think that you see it yet. How do you navigate with those people?
Oh, well, sometimes, trust me, I want to strangle y'all too. Okay.
Right.
And I really, and most times, there will be something, someone might watch this episode a little bit later, and there'll be a trigger, or something will land or resonate for them, and they'll go, okay, I've known I've needed to do something. Now I know I must take action. And I always say, please learn from my journey. Also, understand, I was training for the Olympics when I got sick with cancer, folks. Okay, so there does not discriminate at all.
Yeah.
So keep what you can control inside the lines to the best of your ability with your health. And that is one of the things that I'm really gifted at, helping people, because of all that I learned as a patient. And it's very different than probably the medical tools that you're used to. And that's what I love, is I learned about all these other tools, because I don't want you, audience, to have to get to really truly the end of your rope and be told by a doctor that you may not make it through the night for the light bulb to go on. Just plug the dang thing in and turn it on right now, and let's work together, because then we can go have fun together. When everybody's feeling like $1 million, we can go generate millions and have a blast. Okay.
Absolutely. And the other thing that's really exciting about this is, when you express yourself, you help people live from the inside out. But see, here's the thing: you also help people live from the outside in. And so much of the time, I mean, really, when you think about it, and believe me, I run across people all the time. We're always told, go from this way to that way,
Yep.
or from that way to this way. yes, what you're looking at, there's no there there, there's only the here and now. And you have to really account for every way.
Yep.
That really is what it's about, isn't it?
It is. And understand, because I take care of the inside and the outside of the body.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, this whole fly far with Char thing is that we're living a lifestyle. We're creating a community of full-time living, healthy, excited, vibrant human beings all over the world. And that can't happen if we're not physically and mentally well, which is why we start there. You can come in at any point that you want, but it really is that ultimate lifestyle experience. And that's what I love. It's what I want more people doing with me. I mean, why can't we just go buy an island and all go be our private getaway together? Why not us?
Why not? And here's something else. Being at the conference, everyone, I'm at the Military Influencer Conference. I'm here in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's from Wednesday to Saturday, with great, military veterans who've served, and, some industry partners that work with the military as well, civilian contractors, etc. And, some of the subject matters we're talking about, bipolar, we're talking about depression, we're talking about, lack of energy, is another one. We're talking about not feeling like we fit in. We're talking about a lack of emotion. We're talking about, finding our space and our place, and all these, things, they lead to it, but part of the conversation that is not there is, being healthy and drinking the right water, or eating the right food, and even cleaning ourselves with the right products, so we're not putting toxins into after we do all the other things right. That is a part of this healthy lifestyle that helps you get to that wealthy lifestyle, isn't it?
1,000,000%. And that is, I cover all of those things. That was some of the things that came up with this very talented kind of rogue nutritionist in the cancer years. He started asking me questions like that. How do you store your food? What kind of refrigerator do you have? He came and did a kitchen survey, which I thought was weird. I'm like, dude, do you not understand? I feel like crap, and I can't remember what I had for breakfast, let alone what I ate 2 or 3 days ago. Like, listen to me. He was listening. I just didn't get it back then, right?
Yeah. It's that fog, Char. You had the fog in your head.
More than I could have ever appreciated in that time, how bad it was. I mean, that's real talk. Real medical brain fog is a thing, and you can't appreciate the gravity of that till you literally get out from underneath it and can look back and go, holy buckets, right?
It's like a sky full of clothing on you, and every move you make is it's laborious, and it makes you give up, but people need to be turbo boost. They need to be supercharged. I mean, you stay with them. You don't just, you equip them to go, but you're still there for them, long after they're your clients, or they're even your members, or they're like your lifetime partners. Let's talk about some of these other things. I mean, this isn't just a one and done, you're going to kick them in the butt and they're out the door. I mean, this is a lifestyle, kind of a movement, isn't it?
It is very much a movement in many senses of the word. It is all about community and impacting the world together for good. And that might be, for some people, handy to make an extra $500 to $1,000 a month, right? That's the entrepreneur side. For other people, it might be, I really need to get my health in order, and I appreciate your story. Can you help me? Can we have a conversation? And we start from there, right? And for others, it's, I want to belong somewhere, just like in the military. One of the reasons I love what I do now in post-military years is the same reason I loved the military, because our unit, our command was everything. There was a place to belong.
Yes.
And we offer that, and we do life together, right? We, like this Sunday, a whole bunch of us are getting together in Scottsdale, Arizona, and we're just doing some fun things, and it's kid friendly. And other times we're going to go on a trip together, like in end of February, a bunch of us, we're going to go out to Atlanta. So we do life together, and we're really creating this synergistic community, place where there's something for everyone, whether you just want to belong and have community, or you want to, share with us and earn an income and grow even bigger than you already are.
And that is so key, that, for us as social creatures, right, Char, the community is the key, because everything else, yes, it's learning, and it's going in the mind, but my goodness, the only way that you can really seal that contract is by practicing it. And the only way that you can practice that is, gosh darn it, oh my gosh, I got to do this with other people.
Yep, do it. I mean? We got to get out and do it to be it. Yes.
Yeah, you got to do it to be it. Which leads me to the funnest part of the show. And I've always been fascinated, with your warrior women. When did that come into your mind? I mean, I'm thinking Wonder Woman, but quite frankly, I think Warrior Woman's even stronger than Wonder Woman. You don't even need a golden lasso, to be a warrior woman, right?
I like the golden lasso, though. That's pretty good.
I'm not saying to take away the golden lasso, but it could be there's a lot of golden things I can think of: a bayonet, an M16. We could think of a lot of tools in the toolkit for the warrior woman.
Baby, come on.
Yeah, I know. So tell us a little bit about when was that? When was that moment you told yourself, you know what? I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to create something that's really memorable, and I'm going to attach some value to it, and I'm going to start showing people in general, this is the way we should live. Tell us a little bit about that journey and how you got there.
Yep. And this movement is gaining speed. I'm definitely just kind of letting it organically grow as I get everything figured out and bring it into the fold. It really came because I have this saying. It's kind of my signature phrase. Wonder Woman is not a fictional character. You are she. We are she, right? Or Superman for the guys.
Okay.
And it started with that. And I love Wonder Woman things. It's part of expressing my strength and how I see women in general. I feel, and what I've learned through all these years in medicine and as an athlete, and then post-military for sure, as I'm developing civilian relationships with and getting to know women and having good women relationships, because I didn't have those for a really long time, is that we're all, men and women alike, born with this divine warrior on the inside. What I have learned is that most of us don't invite that warrior to come live full time in the present every day of our life. And it was in just this journey and having conversations and coaching clients and entrepreneurs about 5 or 6 years ago that this thought came to mind. I'm like, this is a worldwide movement, warrior women worldwide. And just so happens that WWW kind of looks like the Wonder Woman logo, just saying. Right? Yeah. And then we got all the right colors because I'm a patriotic girl. So the red, the whites, and the blues. And it was birthed in a conversation. And then my best friend said, hey, what about this? She's a marketing guru. So that just began this conversation. And it really is my passion to speak and to empower, everyone, and especially women, so that fuel that's already inside. It's just uncovering that warrior, and
you're helping unleash it. I mean, quite frankly, you're helping unleash it. I am, every once in a while I'll turn on a TED Talk, and one of the things I like is, see, being a warrior woman, or even a Superman or a warrior man. Sometimes we always think it's like, it's the strongest, or it's the one that has the most Instagram votes, or it's the one that, has the biggest checkbook and stuff like that. But I always remember Simon Sinek, and he was talking about, and, for me, well, I'll give it up for the SEALs. And, and so he was talking, one of the SEAL commanders and one of the SEAL team leaders, and he asked him, he said, what are the attributes, what are the qualities that make a great, SEAL team member? And, he goes, I don't really know what the qualities are that make a great SEAL team member. But he said, I know what the qualities are that don't make a great SEAL team member.
That's right.
Yep. They're the ones that think that they're the smartest. They're the ones that try to be the strongest. They're the ones that, and he started going on this and he said that's the craziness about how we are in the society. What we're measured on is actually a faulty measurement because you don't measure it in what other people see. You measure it inside on what they don't see. And that's what makes you the warrior. That's what gives you the spirit not to give up. That's what gives you the ability to have superhuman strength or have a mind that operates so beautifully in the times of crisis and in helping others, because it's like you said, it's already there. We
Yes.
just have to be able to unleash it.
And to unleash it, we have to understand the tools that are already in the tool belt with it. We got to sharpen them up. Sometimes they're a little dull. And when those tools are sharpened and acknowledged, guess what? They work like a champ.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, we are so on the same page. Again, I want to make sure that I give everyone the ability, because people come to the show, again and again and again. Again, I'm with Char McCreadie. She's founder and creative behind Fly with Char and Warrior Woman Worldwide. See, there's that W. See, I'm Robert World Jones. Okay, she's a veteran. She's a cancer survivor, a public speaker, an internationally best-selling author. I could keep adding more and more. You could probably add some there. You can contact her with Char at flywithchar.com. Tell us some other things that you have coming up and going on here before we end the show, Char.
Oh, wow. What do I have coming up? We have a lot of things coming up. I have some events in the local Arizona area. So if you're in that area or anyone that hook them up with me, and I'd love to invite you to come. We do a variety of fun things. For sure, every Wednesday, I'm down in the Tempe, Arizona area, and we're doing entrepreneurship workshops and health workshops there as well. And of course, in partnership with Robert and his team, we have another book coming out. So excited. Our Art of Transformation. Yep. And very excited to read the chapters in that book. I've had a couple of my transformational friends join me in there. So very excited about that for sure.
And I also want to put it out there. You also are, lead a team over at the Grimaldi's every Friday from noon to 1. And everyone, just you can reach out, you can RSVP. She's open and actually get to meet Char. Sit down, have a one-on-one conversation if you're in the Arizona area. Yes, sometimes she flies out of town because she is fly far or Char. But you can go there, grab yourself a pizza, get yourself a pasta, and meet with some other people and get to be able to see Char in action. When she's showing her superpowers glowing up there, in front of our meeting. Char, is there any other ways that we can find you besides the email and the I don't know about LinkedIn. I'm going to help you with LinkedIn. I think that we'll get on that. But
yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. I
just have to say, oh my goodness. I mean, your curriculum vitae, should be just like stellar on LinkedIn. So, Char at flycharofchar.com, 703.
I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook for sure. I'm really great with text at that number on the screen, 703-408-6789. You can contact me that way. You can hit me up on Facebook Messenger as well. LinkedIn, I will get around to. I'm not the fastest on LinkedIn yet. I'm working on that one. So if you're looking for a response, then probably get me on one of the other ways first.
Absolutely. Well, Char, thank you so much for being on the show today. I mean, it was a pleasure and my honor, to have you on the show. And what better day to have you on this show while I'm over here in Las Vegas at the Military Influencers Conference. And, I can't think of what better way to leave the conference than to be with you and to shine with you on this particular show. Char, thank you so much again for being here today.
Thank you for having us. And my friend, I salute you.
Thank you, Char. Well, oh my goodness, see, you got me on that. Why did you do that to me, Char? See, you are just, kind of crazy that way. I love that. Well, again, everyone, I was with Char McCreadie. She is a service and spirit owner oriented patriot, and it was my pleasure to have her on the show today. Please come back to us each and every week where we have entrepreneurs and actually military service people from around the world coming on to the iNetrepreneur Network on this show. We are here every 2:30 to 3:30 in Arizona time, and right now we're on Pacific time as well, because we're that crazy state that just doesn't seem like to get it. We want to be our own Mavericks. That's kind of like why I like Arizona so well. Please, but like us, find us, get to know this, reach out to me. We're booking out for the next year for the show. Again, Robert Jones, iNetrepreneur Network. Make it a great day, everyone. Thank you.
You've been watching the iNetrepreneur Show, a production of the iNetrepreneur Radio Network, with host Robert W. Jones. Join Robert each week as he visits with new and exciting guests who inspire, teach, and mentor entrepreneurs worldwide. Follow Robert each Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, and 8:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time.